Welcome back to the Dating Relationship Playbook with Chaz, a podcast where we discuss having, maintaining, and improving healthy relationships. And not just a relationship with our significant other, but family, friends, colleagues, and God. And I got a special guest, comedian, and also relationship coach and confidence coach, Paul Roseberry. Thanks again, Paul, for coming on.
Jess, thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it. Great to see you again.
Yeah, so Paul, the podcast has grown. So I had you on and it was just audio initially, when you
Yes.
came on, and then, it was just a good response. And I just was like, man, I would love to have him on again. So I appreciate you coming back on.
Hey, I appreciate you having me. I had a lot of fun too, and definitely glad to see things are growing for you. I
Yeah.
was like, God, I think his background looks different. And I was like, that's what it is. There was no background.
There was no
That's
background. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um,
that's
one
funny,
of the
man.
Yeah, man, things evolve and we get better. So, I'm glad you were able to come back on. One
Yeah.
of the things that you when just kind of researching and just kind of getting to know you in a bit, you just not only try to coach individuals. One of the things on your website you talk about is, hey, my first relationship story is my own. So can you kind of go into some of the things that you incorporate, and then how you incorporate them in your own relationship?
100%, man. I'm sure we talked a little bit last time about how I didn't get into this because I took the fun route from day one. You don't really get into coaching unless you've struck out a few times and had to
Yeah.
figure it out the hard way. But yeah, I always say the most important relationship you can have is the one with yourself. You got to
Hmm.
start there. And you got to have that's got to be in order for you to understand even how relationships with anyone else is going to work, because my big thing, and I don't know if we had gotten into the confidence equation.
No,
Did I talk
we
about
didn't
that
talk
before?
about that. No, we didn't
All
talk
right,
about that.
here.
So take
And
your
this is
time.
yeah, I'm going to show you just a little visual. Let's see. And this is my nerdy way of introducing it. I call it the cat method. All right. Now I'm more
Okay.
of a dog guy. I'm more into dogs than cats, to be
Okay.
clear, but it just works out. Now, what that is, so that's first we'll describe the nerdy part and then we'll get into how it works in real life. See, confidence, people talk about it like it's this mysterious, magical thing that you can't really put your finger on. You're like, oh, you just got to be confident. Just tell
Hmm.
yourself to be confident. Maybe
Yeah.
take a lot of quick breaths before you get on stage. And that, you know what I mean? Like there's always, people have their own weird little things that, hey, if it works, great. But I wanted something a little more tangible, little something
Hmm.
more, reliable that I could put my head around for any situation, not just walking up to a girl, but asking for a raise at work for whatever it is.
Hmm.
So that equation C equals the condition in which A is greater than or equal to T. Now, confidence is the C. Confidence
Hmm.
occurs when your assets are greater than or equal to the demands of your task.
Okay.
That's exactly what confidence is when you think about it. That's exactly what it is.
Hmm.
So, say if you go to the store and you want to buy a loaf of bread's $5. Now, you don't
Hmm.
think that when you go buy a loaf of bread, that doesn't feel like confidence to you. That's just buying a loaf of bread. That's just something you
Yeah.
do. Yes, and it is confidence. See, when you know that loaf of bread costs $5, that's the task. Leave the store
Hmm.
with that loaf of bread. That's your task. What's the demand of the task? The demand is put up $5, you can have it. All
Yeah.
done. Very simple. Now that you know the task and its demands, now you got to ask yourself, well, what do you have for assets? Assets is you do or do not have $5. That's it. It's real simple. Now, if you look in your wallet and you got $5 or a million, you're probably leaving here with a loaf of bread.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you don't have to think twice about it. It's very simple. However, that's the feeling of confidence. And to put it in perspective, what if you only have $3?
Mm. Yeah.
Now you're going to feel pretty weird when you walk up to that register, won't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, this is going to be very uncomfortable. And that's all the butterflies that you would have in your stomach in a situation where you don't feel confident. You're going to feel a little nervous. Your breath is going to be a little
Hmm.
off. Your words are going to be a little choppy because you don't believe you understand why this should work out.
Hmm.
That's what a lack of confidence is when you don't believe that you can understand why this should go the way you wish it would. And this formula, you can apply it to anything. You know, if you're getting ready to go up on stage, you're getting ready to go up to a girl, you got to ask yourself, well, what am I really doing? What are the
Hmm.
demands of the task? I want to take this girl on a date. I want to get her phone number. Okay. That's the task. What are the demands of the task? Be a guy she wants to know more, right?
Yeah.
There you go. You know, and you can say, well, maybe you got to be making a certain amount of money. Maybe you don't know these things. You don't know
Yeah.
these things at all. In fact, if you really break down the task is hope this girl is someone you want to spend more time with.
Hmm.
Find out. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
part of the demand of the task too. Determine if this is someone who you want to know any more than right now.
Yeah.
That's on the task side. And you can break down some more steps, I'm sure, some more little outline. But then the asset is you got to ask yourself, okay, well, what do I think this girl, someone like her, is probably going to want? Someone who's
Mm.
interesting, someone who can, make a little joke, someone who's kind of fun to chat with, decent looking.
Yeah.
Do I have any of those things going for me? And a lot of times, the big thing, Chaz, I find people don't look at their assets.
Okay.
They really don't. They really don't look at the demands of the task. They really don't break down the task at all. Like you just see a hot girl, you're like, I just hope I can take her out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's so simple.
Yeah.
Women kind of get ahead of men early on because women have a task list, a checklist, and
Hmm.
some may be too big of a checklist and maybe they're a little crazy. Who knows? But they want to know more than we do right out the gate. You always see in a movie, there's always some guy who like he's at a bar with his buddy and he's like, "Oh, I see that girl? She
Yeah.
just walked in." He's like, "I'm gonna marry her one day." What are you nuts? You don't know anything about her.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
sounds
Yeah.
romantic, but it's not. You know what I mean? Like he's got to
Yeah.
know more about her before he hops into a mortgage with her. That's
Yeah.
crazy talk. So a big part of confidence, I push people to a big thing that I do. I help people to get excited about themselves.
Okay. Yeah.
People don't itemize their assets, if you will. It sounds very like economic or whatever, but I think most people walk around focused on their negatives.
Hmm.
People say, man, I got to lose 20 pounds. I got to lose 30 pounds. I have to, I look like hell, or, oh man, I gotta make more money. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Everyone's making more money than I am. I don't have any money. No one wants to go out with a guy with no money. Whatever. People do this. People do this all the time. How come I haven't been to the gym? I got to get bigger muscles. I got to get a cooler,
Hmm.
and these are the things that we focus on. So for that reason, we have a subtle assumption that our assets are in the negative. You know what I mean? We go to the store to buy that loaf of bread that's $5. We don't even look in the wallet.
Hmm.
We don't even know. We know we don't have $5. We're afraid we might not have two. We might have an IOU for like 20, So nobody looks at it. And for that reason, that's why we get nervous when we walk into situations because we really haven't planned out at all. What is it we want from this situation? Why do we want it? What does this situation demand from us in order for it to happen? And do we have anything in our wallet to get us there? That's
Yeah. What does that, Paul? What does that look like as far as guy comes to you? I know you deal, you service and coach, tons of men and women.
Mhm.
Uh, what does that look like as far as, can you give me an example? A guy comes to you and he needs confidence. He needs to,
Yeah.
how do you build up his assets? How do you kind of
Yeah.
make build up his assets? Yes.
Right. Uh, Great question. That is where it all begins. So we get you excited about you. You're
Mm-hmm.
not going to change you. Everyone's always like, oh, when we were kids, what do people always say? People always get us so upset when you're a frustrated kid and you're like, man, I don't know why I'm not getting any girls or whatever. People don't like
Mm-hmm.
me. And then, someone always has to say that cliche line, just be yourself. And
Mm-hmm.
you're like, no, I want to be anyone but me. No one wants
Yeah.
me. I don't want me.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
absolutely not. I want to be someone else. But here's the problem. Here's the thing. All right, you can't become someone else for one thing. You've
Mm-hmm.
been given an identity at birth. This is the I think of life as like a giant costume party, sort of. Like no one
Mm-hmm.
knows how we got this identity. No one knows. It's kind of a grab bag. It's just handed to you. That's who you
Mm-hmm.
are now. I don't know who you were before, but people don't what I help people do is, all right, look at not who you want to become. Don't try to jump out of your skin to be someone else in the future. You're never going to be someone else. Let's look at who you actually are,
Mm-hmm.
and let's start to identify why you are who you are and
Okay.
what you like about who you are today. Classic example I always talk about, man. I've had a couple guys who so you ever heard of the game? Again, we'll get nerdy for a minute here. Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, I heard. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like
Okay,
a like I want to say costume, but they kind of like role play, right?
kinda.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. It's pretty nerdy, man. It's like a dorky game. It's like
Yeah,
you got to
yeah.
throw a dice, and then there's like you be a wizard or something. I don't fully get what's going on, but it's kind
Hmm.
of out there.
I've heard of it
And
though. Yeah.
sure, yeah, we've all heard of it. And so initially, any guy I've spoken to who was into that, they're
Hmm.
always like they kind of shrug. They're like, like yeah, I
Yeah.
like it, but I'm not. I'm kind of there's a little bit of
Yeah.
embarrassment maybe. And so what I do is the first time I was really excited, the first time that I really pushed a guy who was into it, and I was like, so you seem a little shruggish about it, like it's got a nerdy concept. So why do you do it? Why do you do something that's nerdy? And then they're like,
Hmm.
well, it's really cerebral. You got to use your head. You got to do a lot of strategizing. You got to work with other people. You got to work as a team. You can do it online, so you can work with people you never met. You meet new people, all this stuff. And I was like, oh, and like, do you do it often? Like, yeah, we meet every week. It's a thing. We all get together. We plan for it. And I'm like, oh, wow. So it's kind of a community, right? Like, yeah. And it sounds like you got to really use your head. It almost kind of keeps you sharp. And they're like, oh, for sure, definitely a lot. And if you
Hmm.
get them, you kind of push them into a corner. The next thing you know, they're kind of fight their way out about why Dungeons and Dragons is awesome.
Yeah.
And now, am
Yeah.
I going to start playing Dungeons and Dragons? Probably not. I don't know. If it was in front of me, maybe I would. I don't
Yeah,
know if I
yeah,
walked
yeah.
right into it. It's not really in my path. But I got a guy to tell me, a guy who started off feeling pretty insecure about liking Dungeons and Dragons, to then tell me, sold me on. He's like, it's like it's awesome. You work together with all these
Hmm.
people. It's and I said, now do you realize what you just did? I said, you actually sound pretty pumped about Dungeons and Dragons. Oh, I am. Like, and this kind
Hmm.
of sounds pretty awesome. In some ways, it is. And do you see how the fact that a lot of people, a lot of people don't have anything regular in their life. A lot of people, their most regular thing is either going to work, or maybe the gym, and they're usually like,
Hmm.
oh, I wish I went an extra time. I haven't gone enough this week. So the idea that you have something regular that you're into that you is a passion, it's kind of hot.
Yeah, yeah.
Kind of is. So I do that. I find every little part of your life. I find every little interest of yours that I get you excited about, so that you then start to see who you are from the outside in, and you go, oh, wait a minute.
Hmm.
If I met me, this guy's actually kind of all right. And I highlight the things that you didn't know how to highlight before. I
Hmm.
give you a little bit of
Yeah,
a like a personality tune-up, and I get you basically just to see your positives. And so this way here, again, going back to the formula, I get you pumped about your assets. I get
yeah,
you feeling good about your assets. And then once you're feeling good as an individual, then, we get on to, if we're here to work on relationships as well, then I get you feeling like when you meet somebody new, you're not doing the number one thing that I see guys, especially, but everybody does it. I just work more with guys, but
yeah,
everybody
yeah.
really does it. Um, People don't usually get into relationships because they feel great about themselves and they want to just share their time with someone interesting. We all think that's who we are. We all
Mm,
wish that's who we were, but we're not. Most of the time, a lot of times, especially when we're young, um, you go, well, I want someone who's hotter than me, so then I feel better about myself.
mm,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
We've all done it.
Mhm,
We've all done it. Now, what you're really saying is you're saying, I want to sort of accept that I don't enjoy the value I hold for myself. And I want to present it to someone who I think has tremendously more value than I have and hope that they will share their stock with me to make me more
mhm,
valuable like them. That's the majority of problems in relationships, man. It really
mhm.
is. And it doesn't make any sense. If you break it down into those terms, it doesn't make any sense. Why would you, you got, say that loaf of bread, you just bought it for $5. Great. But you want to go, hope someone will give you 10. Why would they do that? You know what I
Mm,
mean? Why? Of course you're going to feel nervous again. You're right back to it. Why would it's not a $10 loaf of bread,
yeah.
but so that's where I think people really get into that. That's where I really feel that building up people's sense of personal value, their sense of
Mhm,
the asset that they are. Then when they go meet somebody, they feel they bring a lot to the table.
yeah. Yeah. One of the things you said is, which was kind of funny. You want somebody, some guys may want a woman that's hotter than her, the hotter than him, and have
Yeah.
maybe more going for them. Have you had to have a conversation with a guy to say, hey, not to discourage him, but just kind of being realistic, like he might have been too out of his league? Like, have
Yeah.
you ever had those conversations, and how do they like go?
Well, yes, the answer is yes. And diplomacy.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah, yeah.
great word. You got to deliver that just right for the same reason that you're asking. You can't just say to a dude like, "Look, man, you have no business talking to a girl that looks like that." Like you can't say that. But in reality, that may not be the case at all. What it is you've got to understand that guy needs to understand why he wants what he wants,
Okay,
and he's got to understand what he's willing to trade for it. Right.
okay.
So it's not uncommon that a girl's better looking than a guy, like I
Mm.
think often, like it's
Yeah, yeah.
totally fine for women. Women work harder at it. Women try harder. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Our haircuts are $20. Theirs are like 200. You know what I mean? She's gonna look better than you,
Yeah.
seriously. But the thing is, so I would say the way to approach it though is what is again, break it down. Why is that girl, why do you want to go out with her? Is it just the looks? Because you got to
Mm,
be real. Here's the thing. I always say to a guy, look, physical attraction, it's a given. It's a
mm,
given. We're not going to work on you having a relationship with any woman who you're not attracted to.
mhm,
That's messed up. You know what I mean?
mm,
Because that's not going to work. That's
mhm,
it's temporary to start. So if we make it established, you're going to be attracted to whoever you begin something with. Then it doesn't have to be a 10%. What is a 10? Who
mm,
knows what a 10 is? A 10's only a 10 until you see another 10. And then you're like, oh, she was a
mhm.
nine. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can't, you know what I mean? And women think the same way. We'll get to that in a little bit, but women are ahead of you on
Mm,
why looks cannot be so important. But, I help the guy to understand, all right, look, what do you really want? And we
mhm,
do uh I've got a series of exercises. So these exercises are called the fives. The fives, we break down lists of things that are important to us and we break them down into top fives. Everyone loves a good top 10 list, top five
yeah,
list.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So top five things that are important to you in a relationship. Let's start to break down what are you looking for? What do you really want? I could
Mm,
show you an incredibly gorgeous woman right now who, if you had to spend 3 hours with her by the end, you'd say, I don't even know if I like women anymore. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I
yeah.
could, you know what I mean? Like
Mhm,
you could be turned off to blondes because this one is
mhm,
just, you know what I mean? Like whatever. So let's really get an idea. What do you want? Let's identify, let's break down the demands of the task. Let's break down the task. You want someone
mhm,
who's fun to hang out with. Maybe you love Dungeons and Dragons. You want a girl who's turned on by the fact that you have a thing. You know what I mean? Maybe you're into horror movies. You don't want a girl who hates horror movies and would never listen to something that has a swear. You know what I mean? Like you got to let's connect. Let's make this real. You got to have a plan. If you're going to build a house, you need a blueprint. If you're going to bake a cake, you need a recipe. You don't just go winging it. This is the biggest decision you're going to make of your life, ultimately, because this is who you're going to spend your time with. There are guys I think it was Warren Buffett, that actually said one of the biggest predictors of whether or not a man will be successful is how he gets along with his wife. Now, I can think of a lot of guys who don't get along with their wives who come a long way. Bezos is single, but or divorced. But it is a very major decision. So you got to have a plan. So you got to outline, what do you want? You want someone who likes movies. You want someone who likes going to live concerts. You know what I mean? Every girl writes on her profile, I'd love to travel. Everyone loves to travel. Yeah, we know. But like, do you do it? Why? You know what I mean? How do you like to travel? Do you like to go to resorts and just stay at the hotel? Or do you like to get out and walk around on side streets and, see locals? How do you like to do what you like to do? Are you do you scuba dive? Like, what are the things? What do you want? What are you looking for in a companion? And then once you start to realize what it is you want, then you start to expand your horizons. Now it's not just about hair color,
Yeah, yeah.
waist size. Then it starts to be like, oh man, because I mean, dude, I've sold cars, I've sold everything under the sun. I can tell you there are people who walk in knowing they think they want this one thing, but they didn't think very much about it. And by the time it's over, you go, well, you could have that. Or you said five other things that were important to you.
Hmm.
And that's over here with this other one that you didn't think you wanted at all, but now I couldn't pull you away from it because now we figured out these are all the things that are really important. So
Hmm.
same idea. So you make a list of top five. Top five things that are important in a relationship, top five things that are important in a partner.
Okay.
Someone who can communicate, someone who's got a sense of humor, someone who's affectionate, someone who, hey, I actually had a woman I worked with. She doesn't like to talk. She's like, I want a guy who also doesn't like to talk. I was like,
That's interesting.
yeah, it is interesting.
Yeah, that's
And
interesting.
she wasn't a mute, but she was just like, she liked to come home and kind of be quiet, a little bit.
Hmm.
I had a feeling that could change with the right personality type around her. I can get
Yeah.
pretty chatty. Um, but it's funny what people think they want. But
Hmm.
then, so as far as these lists of fives, those are a couple of the critical ones. Then you got to ask yourself, top five things you bring to the table.
Mm.
That's where it gets interesting. What do you bring? And this is how we get to build that asset. This is how we begin to polish your interests and get you excited about you. Well, you know what? I actually work really hard. Oh, I really like to learn. I like to, whatever. So, and when I say a list of five, I mean, make a list of like 50 and over time, over days and weeks, chip away at it. Keep a little note in your phone and just keep adding to it. Oh, this is a thing about me. Oh, I forgot. I also love polo. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then so you keep moving your top five, whatever something comes up and you shift it, be fluid with it until you get to that real five. You're learning about what you want. You're learning about the kind of person who you could find it with. You're learning about the kind of what you bring to the table to make you feel like you have any reason to go up and ask somebody to share their time with you.
hmm.
Then the real one, the ugly one. Top five things you're afraid someone is going to learn about you.
Mm.
Top five things you think somebody would like you less if they knew about you, if they learned that about you.
Hmm.
Chances are these are the things that prevent you from going out in the first place. Chances are. You think you're out of shape. All these things that we were talking about a few minutes ago, ways we beat ourselves up. I don't do enough of this. I've been meaning to do this, but I don't. These are the things that we let stand right in our way. These are blockages that keep us from getting out there. And so let's look at them. Don't keep them a mystery. Don't let them boil behind you. Let's get them out in the open, privately to yourself. Lay them out. You out of shape? What is it? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. You know. Maybe you don't
Yeah.
have five. Maybe you got two. Maybe you got 50. I don't know. But lay them out. And what you want to do, once you start looking at the things you think are holding you back, things that would make you feel, because it's amazing. Insecurity is a fascinating thing. People, oh, People hold back their whole lives because of things they're afraid are in their way.
Yeah.
Lay those things out and start working on a plan for each one. Just a plan, just a plan. You don't have to solve it. You don't have to fix it. It doesn't have to be gone today. You want to you say, hey, I want to be in better shape because I don't feel like me. I don't look like me. My clothes don't fit, whatever. I've got to lose 30 pounds. And it's not so someone else will like me. It's I will feel better in my skin.
Hmm.
Cool. Well, you don't have to wait until you lose 30 pounds until you can go date.
Yeah, yeah,
What you got to do is have a plan that you believe in today. You're going to cut your carbs, eat some more vegetables, get a gym membership, go once, go once. I mean, you're going to have to go a lot more than that, but go
yeah.
once just to know that you're doing it. As soon as you believe you have a plan in place that's going to solve this issue that's been bothering you about you, now it's not in the way anymore because you're already
Mm.
chipping away at it. You can absolutely go meet somebody. Absolutely. Because yeah, it's not solved today, but I'm working on it. And you
Yeah.
believe that.
Do you think part of those five for the fear are how many of those are actually real things and how many of that is just maybe in their head? Because like you might, like you said, you might feel like, hey, I might need to lose a few pounds, or you may, whatever that five is. When they give you those five, have you had to say, hey, um, you might need to take this out? Isn't this might just be something that you're you're overthinking.
100%. A lot. A
Mm.
lot. Because someone might say, well, I don't think I'm funny enough. You know
Yeah, I
what? You
won't say
probably
that's
are.
not a.
You know what I mean? For one, you either have an interest in getting funnier or you don't. Okay.
Mm.
And if you don't, then this is how funny you are. So
Yeah,
what? You know what I mean? Go find someone who's real funny and likes to make you laugh, and you're done. You don't have to both be comedians, you know?
yeah,
No, I actually had I had an interview a while back with some people where the wife had an insecurity. I'm trying to remember what it was because it was on a public podcast. So we could talk about. I'm trying to remember what it was. She had an insecurity that, and she was married. Like her husband was actually on the pod as well.
yeah.
We worked through it on the pod.
Oh
This
wow.
thing that, yeah, and we figured out that it was something he could help her with, and he didn't mind helping her. She just hadn't vocalized it in that way. Guess what? Ask for help. I think I
Yeah.
think she was I think she was like uncertain. She felt uncomfortable. God, it was something. I'm trying to remember this a while back. She was like as a public speaker or something. And
Mm.
it's funny. My wife's nodding at me. She knows. Yeah, I think she was uncomfortable being a public speaker, but she had a PhD, like incredibly,
Okay.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
it was wild. It was wild what people have for insecurities. And now that wasn't holding her back from meeting somebody. It was holding her back in her life.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was
Like
something
a
she didn't.
confidence thing. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, it
Okay.
was something ugly in her closet she didn't want there, but thought about. Get it out. Ask for help. Someone help you with it. But to your point, yeah, some of these things are not as concrete as stepping on a scale and you're 30
Yeah.
pounds over what you wish. Some of these are like completely subjective
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
not real. Like, what?
Hmm.
Get a joke book. You know what I mean? Start watching some comedians, like
Yeah.
figure out what makes you laugh. What do you think is funny? All right, then you don't have to write it yourself. Just now you got something funny to talk about. Why is
Mm.
it funny to you? Why does that make you laugh? Tell someone else, some other comedian's joke. Those are my favorite comedians, like Chris Rock, like if you get a good joke, I call them water cooler jokes because you
Mm.
can take a joke from his special and then go tell it tomorrow at work. That's how I like to write jokes. I want you to be able to go tell my joke again later.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, that's a great observation. A lot of these things are kind of fictitious.
Um, I know guys come to you that have, struggles with finding women or dating women. I'm curious to know like when if a guy is maybe introverted or maybe a homebody or just likes to stay home, like how do you support that? How do you coach him to because you're not gonna find anybody. Well, I guess you can't find somebody online, so I guess you can't do that. But how do you find someone as far as maybe approaching them? Um, once he maybe if he sees someone out, how do you kind of help individuals approach women?
All right, so there's a couple of things there. I have worked with guys who that like gamers, just
Okay.
love to game, online gamers.
Yeah.
They can meet girls who game.
Yeah.
They're out there. There are girls who game too,
Mm,
but so for one, we got to figure out, why do you want to meet somebody?
mm,
Why? Like how important is it to you? Because that's one of the earliest questions that I have whenever I meet with somebody. I want to know what their buy-in is. And I
mm,
don't mean buy-in money wise, like you're going to spend money to work with me, or whatever. No, I mean how bought in are you in this goal? Because
mm,
that's one of the demands of the tasks as well. You got to want it. You
yeah.
have to want it. If you don't really want it, I'm not going to take your money just to waste both of our time. Forget
Hmm.
that. Then it's not exciting to me to
Yeah.
help you with something that I'm more interested in the outcome than you are. So
Hmm.
you've got, like really, I mean, you've got to want it. I mean, it's like hiring your personal trainer or something. I mean, he gets paid whether you show up or not, but it's boring if he's just going to stand there and you don't
Yeah.
show up and he just bills you and goes home. Like that's dumb. No, like you've got to want it. You've got to really want it. And that's part of building that fire as well, too. Hey, maybe you are an introvert. Okay. That's where you're starting. That's where you
Hmm.
say, is it entirely where you want to be? Are you an introvert because you're scared? Maybe. A lot of people, if you think the A is worth a lot less than the T, anyone's going to be introverted. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? If that loaf of bread costs $5 and you don't have it, you're not even going to go to the store.
Hmm.
Of course, it seems like an introvert. You should be. That's actually a sign of sanity. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
got to be a psychopath to go, and there are plenty of guys out there who, do go try to get that loaf of bread for $5 with, when they only got $1. But, some of the most honest people are the ones who abstain entirely because they don't think they have the $5.
Hmm.
So I like to see, if you're 100%, if you're really bought into this and you really want to see change, then we start to take inventory, and maybe you're a little less introverted than you think once you realize you got a little more in your wallet than you thought.
Hmm.
One. And if that doesn't change, that's fine too, but if you're bought in, but you really just, I don't know, like you just don't like to be outside. What do you call it? Like an agoraphobic or something? Someone doesn't like to be outdoors, then
Yeah.
fine. Fine, we'll find you a girl like that. We find ways. We find ways. And if you're committed and you're feeling good about yourself, we're gonna find you a girl, whatever, however it takes.
Yeah. How do you like support individuals who are dating online or dating using the dating apps? Like, what are some ways that you're creative with them? Because I know you do well with like helping them, like send messages and texts and communication. Like, how to so
Yeah,
do you work with individuals that like are looking to do that dating app scene?
I have. I have. And, you know, number one, as with anything, honesty,
Mm,
and you got to know going into it. You got to have thick skin. It's
mm,
numbers. It's numbers. There are
yeah.
stats. Like it takes an average of 11 hours of swiping to
Really?
get to one date.
Mm,
11 hours. And that's part of what has drawn me to matchmaking in some, because a lot of people, 11 hours of your time, you figure in a month, that's 44 hours. That's a full-time work week
yeah.
to go on
Yeah.
4 dates, and are they going to be any good? Well, you don't know because you're still using the same criteria to choose these people as you did
Hmm.
before anybody helped you, So with that, I encourage people, you got to have thick skin. You got to be ready to put a lot of time in, but you got to come up with a plan. And I think also you got to be creative,
Hmm.
just try to ask yourself, why are you interested in this person? What
Hmm.
about them? Look for something in the picture. Is there a guitar in the picture? And you're like, oh, I like that Fender. I got one
Hmm.
just like that. Maybe she gets it all the time. Who knows? Whatever. But if it's real, like how to play guitar, you like that, it's a cool guitar. Or, you know, she's got a cool dog. And I mean, again,
Yeah.
probably everyone talks about her dog, but go through a profile, take a
Mm,
look. Why do you, the biggest mind shift that I offer people, and the reason my coaching is called the security method is because I teach people to protect their value. Security is
Okay.
the ability to protect that which has value. That's how
Mm,
I refer to security. I guess in the dictionary, there's a little more sterile definition, but that's more practical, hands-on. Security is the ability
mm,
to protect that which has value. Now, women, I think the number one thing women can seek in a man, number one, and I hope anyone listening, write this down or just focus for a second. Number one is your ability to provide them with security. Hands down. That's it. Number one. All the other stuff is an add on. I always say security, it's not everything, but without it, you have nothing.
yeah.
Think about, I mean, think about countries. Think about the countries with the biggest armies.
Mm,
Those are the ones with the greatest assets. Because
yeah.
if you have more assets than you have army, guess what? You don't have assets anymore. Someone's going to come and take
Yeah.
them, dude. That's it. You can never let your security underweigh your assets, or someone will take it. And
Mm,
and 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 our time is the same way. Our personal the security that I'm referring to is personal value. So, when you look at security, there are some basic forms. Money, yeah,
mm,
women would be attracted to money. So are men. Everybody is. Money's pretty cool. And it's a
yeah.
form of security. Can
Yeah.
get you fed, can get you shelter, food, clothes, whatever. Uh, Muscles. Yeah, muscles are great security. Keep you safe, you know,
Yeah.
hold you up in a fight. I don't know, against the Tigers back in the day. Who knows? But these are basic forms of security. And these are what guys are usually thinking women are looking for. Oh, women, they want guys with money, they want guys with muscles.
Mm,
What do they all have in common? These are forms of security. But the highest form of security, the highest form is the ability to be in a relationship purely out of interest. Because women will know if you get into a relationship for any reason other than genuine, pure interest,
mm,
just because it's an interesting person, it's a great way to spend your time. If you get into it because she elevates your value, she makes you feel like she solves a problem relating to your insecurity,
mhm,
then you're not in a relationship with her, you're in a relationship with what she does for your problem.
mm,
And women can smell that and they hate it. They
mm.
hate it. Chances are, most of the time, she won't even let you in because she already knows. You don't see me. You don't know anything about me. They can tell by the glazed look in your eye, like a kid in a candy store, like you've never seen, you're not on this level. This is a whole new, you know what I mean? This is too much for you. They can see it in your eye, But if you're in a relationship that solves an insecurity of yours rather than an interest,
Mhm,
then you're not with the woman. You're not with the woman. You're with the solution she brings to your problem. And she'll know that. Because if it's like, oh yeah, you've never been with a girl who looks as good as I do. And she just knows that's your feelings, not hers. But she can
mhm.
feel that. She's gonna go, no, this ain't gonna last. This is no good. Because he's just with me because I'm hot. Women live in the real world in a lot of ways when it comes to looks. And they'll say, you know what? I I'm not the only hot girl around.
Yeah.
I've been to the store. I've walked down the street. That women think other women are so much hotter than they are. Like
Yeah.
it's pretty fun. No, my
Yeah.
wife's shaking her head and laughing. Well, no, women prop each other up far more so than guys do sometimes.
Yeah.
Because a woman
Yeah.
would be like, "Oh man, that girl's hotter than me." Like, not really, but you know what? The point is, it's not reliable. She
Yeah.
goes, "Okay, you're with me because I'm hot. What happens if I gain 10 pounds? What
Mhm,
happens if we're together 5 years, 10 years, and I don't look like I did? Am I out?
mm,
Is that the axis for our relationship? Is my looks? Because there's another girl every day, every day, every day. There's another girl. So I'm going to get attached to you. I'm going to get comfortable in this. And then I'm going to get tossed because I'm only here to solve one problem of yours that a lot of other people could solve. I don't have a unique value to this relationship. And that is the least feeling of security a woman could have. That's very low security. And I say, women, you can flip this for men and women. But again, we're just
Yeah.
positioning it, men and women. So when that becomes the case, and Chaz, we'll get into it for a minute, man. This is what I see. This is what drives me nuts. And this is what really fires me up about helping men these days
Hmm.
and women. But I believe the impetus, the opportunity for change is heavily in the hands of men.
Yeah.
So man and woman get into a relationship. It's all fun and games in the beginning, courtship. Then she starts to realize, this is about his insecurity. I make him feel he doesn't even know me. Now she can say to herself, if she's totally whole and healthy in her own position, she can go, well, it took me a little while to learn that. This is why we get to know each other. This isn't a fit. I want to go find someone who's also got a lot of, sense of value. Um, I'm going to leave. Maybe, not usually. Usually what happens is the relationship continues anyway. She goes, ugh, this is horrible. And she may not be thinking this consciously, but it may be a little bit. And she'll say, well, I don't like that. But now that I know why he's with me, I can control it. I
Mm.
can have some manipulation opportunity here. She says, because, I don't necessarily want to go back to being single either.
Mm.
Dating is hard. Dating takes a while. It's a lot of meeting new people. It's a lot, like, you know what? There's enough things about this guy that I could make this work. And since I know what his fear is, I can control it a little bit and I can own him a little. And,
Wow.
and you see dudes, I'm sure you've seen it. You've seen dudes who are like, they're not a man in a man and woman relationship. They become a child.
Mm.
When a woman doesn't see you as having the ability to fulfill the male role on a security level, but she continues in the relationship, or maybe she didn't realize it till later on. You already have a mortgage, you already got kids. It's kind of hard to leave. She might go, well, you now, and I see this all the time. Men don't know how to be men in relationships. And so the woman goes, well, this is horrible, but now I got to be the woman and the man. I got to be both. They go, I have to be both the man and the woman. And this guy is now like an extra kid to me. I got to look out for him. Yeah, he earns a paycheck. Cool. But emotionally, I've got to be the one to run the show. And I'll tell you, I see it all the time. And where it adds up in numbers, Chaz, there are stats that show over 70% of divorces currently are initiated by women.
Wow. I've heard of that. Yeah. Yeah.
Over 90% of divorces involving a woman who has a college degree or higher, it's over 90%.
Mm.
Over 90, about 92, 93. And I have worked with so many women in matchmaking, in coaching, where these are women they have a lot of things in common. Middle age, divorced, meaning they've already been in a marriage once and generally for a long time, 10,
Mhm.
15, 20-year marriages. Every single time when I ask them, what do you want now? What are you looking for in your next man? Because do you want to find another man? Yeah, I want to find another man for sure. What are you looking for? First word out of their mouth, leader.
Mm.
I mean, and these are women on both sides of the aisle. These are Republican. I work probably with more Democratic, not to get political, but like these are women who, we might say, well, these are, maybe on the more feminist, conscious, don't need a man or what, leader, leader. That's the word that comes out of their mouth. I can almost be like a magician and write it down before they say it and then hold it up like a card trick. You know what I mean? And then I go, well, tell me more. And they go, well, a man. I want a man
Mm.
who's a man. And what they mean, they don't want a guy who tells them what they can wear that night. They don't want some tyrant. They want a guy who has some clue, some concept of what he wants from his life and some concept of what he's willing to put up with. That's what it ultimately comes down to. That's the hottest thing. The just if I were to ask you, is there one word, if you had to guess, I know it's on the spot, is there one word in the English language that you think is significantly hotter than any or all of the others?
I'm talking about any one
One
word
word, any one word in the English language. I know it sounds like a crazy question.
that's hotter than anything.
Any other
Hotter
word,
than
the
okay.
hottest word in the English language.
Oh, hottest word in the English language. Oh, I've never thought about that. I'll just say fantastic. I don't know.
Okay. I firmly believe the hottest word in the English language is the word no.
Oh, okay. Okay. Uh-huh.
Immediately you get it. Immediately,
Yeah.
because when guys need something from someone else, everything's a yes. Whatever you want, I'll do it. Whatever it is. Oh my
Mm,
God. You know what I mean? I can't believe I have a chance with a girl like you. I can't believe I'm somehow making this work. Whatever you need. You want me to, you know what? I will steal a Ferrari. I don't care. What do we have to do? You know what I mean? Like I'll burn down my own family's house. Anything. Their yeses are to no end.
mm-hmm.
But it's and no and there's no respect in that. Sure, it's cute. It's romantic to have plenty of yeses and to things you want to do. Sure. But it's only respectable if it's balanced by the ability to lay down a good, proper no when it's time.
Mm-hmm.
How bad do you want this? Hey, I'm excited to spend time with you. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, but would you do this? No. What do you mean no? I know guys who cut off their right arm. Yeah, I'm not going to cut off my, what are you, nuts? You seem cool, but I'm not
Mm,
going to, you know what I mean? I'm not going to fly you on a plane we've never met. You know what I mean? No.
yeah.
No. What? No. I'll take you for a drink. Take you, and it's not even being a jerk in any way, but that's where the respect comes from. Yeah, I would
Mm-hmm.
like to get to know you more. I'd like to, the little bit I've learned, I already want to know more. I've gone with you a few times. I'd like to see you again. Yeah, but would you put up with this lifestyle? Mm-mm. No, no, that's crazy. I don't think anyone should live that way. You wouldn't do that for me. You don't think, you wouldn't put up. No. Well, but I'm not going to change. But hey, there's a lot of guys in this world. You go find a great one. No problem. This isn't a fit. What do you mean? No guy ever tells me no. Yeah, well, I did. You
I get
sound
it. Yeah,
crazy.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, and the more you can help balance, because dude, honestly, I truly believe one of the biggest things relationships do is keep you sane. It
yeah. Mm-hmm.
has to. It either does or it doesn't. It either does or it does not keep you sane. I've seen relationships that make people insane because no one knows how to say no. Dude, life is nuts. Life is an absurd proposition. No one knows how we got here. No one knows we go when it's over. It's definitely going to end. You know what I mean? Like, we're for a limited amount of time. Some things hurt. Some things feel good. There's responsibility. You know what? It's chaos. It's chaos. And a big part of what you're searching for, whether you realize it or not, and it should be in that top five, someone sane who can help you stay sane.
Yeah.
You got to have someone who can say to you, hey, you've been awesome, awesome, awesome. This thing you're doing right now, whew, you don't want to, that's, you don't want to walk around acting like that. That was crazy what you just did.
Mm-hmm.
And then you might say, oh, all right. Thank you. I didn't realize I was being crazy, but I trust your opinion. Maybe I'll go for a walk. But if you don't have someone who could say no to you, then you're not, you know what I mean? You're gonna, sorry,
Yeah.
you're about to say something.
No, I want to go back to when you were talking about like being a man.
Yeah.
What outside of so one of them was you were saying no. What are some other qualities that those guys can apply or make an effort to work on to be not the child in the relationship but the man in the relationship?
Love it. Love it. Great question. And that is the crux that opens the door to things getting better and being good. You know, being honest, take that no with you. That no is your sword. in being a
Yeah.
knight. You know what I mean? That's your sword. And it's not to point at her. It's to point, it's to be able to keep you both safe. Take that no with you. And for one, if something doesn't feel right to you, something doesn't feel right to you, your space, your ability, your security, your ability to protect that which has value, your space has to be the first thing that has value. It's got to be the
Mm.
first thing you can protect. You feel like she's kind of bagging on you or just not respecting you, call it out. Hey, whoa, what is that
Mm.
about? Call it out. Don't let it. This is what everybody does wrong. They let it go, they let it go, they let it go. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. You know what? And why? Why is it not a big deal? Well, it's kind of bothering me what she's doing, but I don't want to lose her. You jump all the way to if I put up a little bit of an argument about this thing that's kind of bothering me, but if my fear is bringing that up is going to cause the whole relationship to flip upside down and she's gone, well, then of course. Of course. Well, now, your problem is small and the reward is big in your mind, but that's not the reality. That's
Mm.
not the reality because you're going to let that bubble, you're going to let it bubble, and eventually you're going to snap off. And you're going to snap off about something stupid and little, and it won't make any sense. And you'll look like a crazy person because, like it's not going to be about the fact that there's no butter in the house or so, I mean, it's going to be something, it's going to sound crazy, but it's going to be about 10 other things, 20 other things. And you can't even begin to list. And then when you start to list something that was from 2 years ago, she's going to be like, 2 years. That was 2 years ago. You haven't brought that up. Why wouldn't you have said something to me?
Yeah.
And then it's kind of a valid point. Why
Yeah.
don't you communicate with me? Why don't you tell me what's going on in real time? Why can't you share upfront, real time? Not over everything. Don't be a nag,
Yeah.
but be real in real time. Protect your space. The relationship has to feel good. It's got to feel better than being alone.
Mhm.
It has to. Or at least like an on par substitute. Because you want being alone to feel great as well. So I shouldn't say
Yeah. Yeah.
better,
Yeah. Yeah.
but you know what I mean? Like a favorable trade. Um, so for one, be willing to stand up for your own sense of comfort and say no. Two, where you get big points. Now, if you can do with her, because you're going to see, she's going to, there are going to be times she looks bummed out. She looks like this is what's going on. Okay, ask. Kid might not ask. If you've become this, you're not the male partner, you're just a kid. You just kind of, oh yeah, well, maybe why don't I order us pizza? You know what I mean? Like, no, ask, what is it? Like, what's going on? Why do you look bummed out? You look stressed out. What is it? And don't be afraid of what's on the other side. And don't also assume it's you. A lot of guys, because again, if you walk around with low self-esteem and you think you're just lucky to be around somebody, then you might be like, oh, they're acting this way because I'm not enough. And it has nothing to do with you. It
Mhm.
could be work. It could be another friend. It could be whatever, stress, family. It could be any. Don't be afraid to ask. Ask. And I, you have to remind, don't assume it's you. Like it's probably not, but ask. And so that's carrying that same sword.
Mhm.
Open it up. What's bothering you? Well, it's this thing about work. Okay. Just tell me about it. Well, so and so, this and that. Help with a solution. Okay. And it's easier for you because you're not emotionally involved.
Yeah.
It's always easier to help someone else. This is how coaches survive. This is how coaches exist because there are people who coach CEOs of major corporations. This coach is a nobody. They might have some skill, but you get this major corporate, this big dog CEO, and you're like, well, who are you to give this person advice? Well, I'll tell you who I am. I'm the one who's not on the field. You know what I mean? You watch a football game, that quarterback's about to get sacked. He's about to get run over, maybe by two, three guys. Well, as a coach, I'm not going to get hit. Probably
Yeah.
not.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I can think much more calmly. Like, okay, here's what you got to do. we're gonna
Yeah.
set up a whole different approach because I can see what you can't.
Mm.
I can see. I don't have the same emotional distractions of like, oh my God, this is the end of the world or not. I'm on the outside. So help in those ways. It reduce stress. Reduce stress. Don't add to stress. A liability adds stress. A partner reduces stress. And
Yeah.
keep an eye out for it. That's how you do it. And don't be afraid to ask. And then what do you become? What does someone say in a great relationship? They go, oh, he's my rock. Why?
Mhm.
Because he digs in. Whereas a guy who's like, oh, I'm afraid to ask because it's probably me.
Yeah.
Like, I shouldn't laugh. You can't laugh, but it's like, dude, you know what I mean? It's just from the
Yeah.
outside. Because even guys who get smoked like this, even guys who get crushed, they can see it in other. Do you know? I've had guys I know who know each other,
Hmm.
each individually getting smoked, crushed in relationships where they didn't know how to be a man. And each
Hmm.
of them and them separately tell me, "Oh, isn't it so hard to watch that guy?" Like, is it hard to
Yeah,
watch?
yeah.
Why don't you tell me why? Why don't you tell me why?
That's funny.
Explain
Yeah.
that to me. It's hilarious, dude. And both thought they were completely unlike the other. And I'm like, what's the net result?
Hey,
Hilarious, dude. It's
a- as we close, Paul,
yeah,
I want to give you opportunity to share, where individuals can, um, receive your coaching, whether it's
yeah.
confidence, relationships, because I know you have a variety of various services. So I want to give you opportunity to share that and how they can find you.
Sure, I appreciate it. So my website, paulroseberry.com. Pretty
Yeah. And
straightforward.
I have it in the description in the show notes too, but I
For
wanted you to
sure.
share.
Yeah, for those who are just listening and driving right now, it's not all right there. Yeah, sure. Paulroseberry.com. My email is paul@paulroseberry.com. I offer a 20-minute free consultation with anyone who wants to just
Okay.
talk, and kind of see what I'm about and give me a chance to learn about what your goals are, figure out if we can work together, because that's critical.
Yeah.
Not every relationship, just because you're two people doesn't mean everyone, So
Mm,
we talk about what it is you want to do, about maybe some loose ideas on how we can get you there. And, if you want to get into some coaching, I do offer that.
mm.
But also, I always tell everybody, if you just want to shoot me a one-off, you just got a question here and there.
Yeah.
I like that. There's a lot of repetition. Once you do this enough, everybody's kind of got the same few problems.
Mhm.
It's just a different city that it happened in with a different first name. You know what I mean? It's all the same, but I always like to hear it. Just send it to me. If I can,
Mhm.
I'll shoot you a thought on where you could go with it. And I'm working on a book. I wish I had a title for you. I don't have it put together yet, but I am working on a book that I'll
It's
be
gonna
able to
be
share
good.
soon. So, yeah,
That's gonna
thanks, man. I'm excited. It's all the things we talked about today, and also like I get into some of the spirituality, if you will. Chapter
mm,
two, there's three chapters. There's the how I got into this. Chapter two is a little bit of a spiritual perspective on how to look at yourself, to get comfortable in where you are. And then three is relationships,
awesome.
how to
Awesome.
do that. So yeah,
Before we close, before I end it, I did want to read
yeah,
um this testimony that stood out to me when I was on your website so people can.
sure.
This is from Erica in
Okay.
Boston. Paul has been instrumental in helping me curate healthy relationships in my life. He has guided me through breakups when I felt confused, hurt, and lost. He taught me the benefits of self validation and what it looks like to have a strong sense of self. I trusted him and knew he had my best interests in mind. I've gained essential knowledge that I will carry throughout my life. I will recommend him to anyone looking for help. I promise you won't regret it. Um, I to go along with that, um, when a individual comes to you, what is like maybe the ultimate goal or ultimate, you want every student to leave your um coaching. What do you want them to like have?
Increased sense of personal value.
Hmm.
From there, everything else is an option.
Yeah.
Everything else is a path you choose to go down or not. But if I can help you to increase your sense of personal value, and it's funny, we won't get into the whole thing, but I've got to put up more of my testimonials. I'm pretty, I'm great with coaching people. I'm not a big tech guy, but that girl, I'll tell you one funny thing about that's a girl who, prime example, you never know what you're getting into. She wanted help. This is something, I work with people on all levels. She
Mm,
wanted me to see because she kept running the same kind of guys. She kept running the same kind of problems with guys. And so she was like, look, here's an example. Here's a guy I've been talking to lately. Look at what's wrong with this guy by
mm,
reading through the text messages. And she showed me her phone. And I'm reading through the text messages and I'm scrolling and I'm scrolling. And I said, can I tell you what I do see the problem? She's like, see? And I'm like, well, do you? I said, it's
mm.
you.
Wow.
It's you. I said, what you say to this person is so guarded and
Mm,
so shut down. You offer absolutely no vulnerability whatsoever. You're taking absolutely no risk and you give him almost nothing to work with. And this guy's backpedaling. This guy, he's a nice guy. He's the kind of guy I work with all the time because he's probably too nice. He's putting up with the fact that you are giving him nothing and you have no respect for him. Which is where you wanted this to go. You wanted for you to not respect this guy because then if he doesn't value you as you don't for yourself, then you're just not being valued by someone who you don't respect, so their opinion doesn't matter.
mm,
And that kind of hit her in the face, it did because she didn't want it to work out. She just wanted to get to the safety, constant safety. Well, the safety is because you don't feel good about yourself anyway. But that was it is fun. I hadn't, you know what? It was fun hearing that, man. I'm glad you brought that
yeah.
up.
Yeah.
That was a
Yeah.
little while back. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I just say keep up the great work, man. Like that's awesome. Whenever you can hear, individuals that you impacted in that way, and you put up a mirror, and they look at it and say, hey, I do need work in this area, and then they actually put in the time and effort to do that. So, man, keep up the good work.
I appreciate it, man. And hey, right back at you. I'm glad your podcast is growing. Glad
Yeah.
to get some face to face this time, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
That's awesome.
that's
That's awesome.
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you're doing a lot for the community as well. So glad to
Awesome.
see it.
I appreciate it. Thank you. This was another incredible episode of the Dating Relationship Playbook with Chaz, relationship and confident coach, Paul Roseberry. Again, thanks again for coming on, Paul.
Yeah, man. Hey, anytime, man. I hope we do it again another time.
Yeah, when the books come out, that'll be a great time to do it.
That's a deal. That's a deal.
Gotcha.
We'll do it
Gotcha.
then.
All right, cool.
Thanks, Jess.
Yes, sir.